I'm going to start with a story, okay? This story is at the beginning of the book. In a sense, this story is kind of like a silent film. Because when we read, typically we read in silence. So you can imagine this reading on the page. This is called The First Days. Shall I begin this and you come in? Okay, cool. So this is The First Days. And actually, because I mentioned the Van Morrison earlier, I'm going to begin. There's little chapters in this book, and each one is fronted by an epigram. And I love this album, Van Morrison's Astral Weeks. I don't know if you know it. If you know this album is like, I don't know what the hell was going on in the studio at the recording of this, but they captured the sound of God at certain moments. And I'm not a religious person, but I mean that in all seriousness. There is something divine happening in the music at many moments, and it's about as close to a perfect piece of art as I can think of in music. And there's a lyric, and the lyric more or less sets off the book. This is called Backward. Or, pardon me, the chapter is backward, but this is the lyric from Van Morrison. And I shall drive my chariot down your streets and cry, hey, it's me, I'm dynamite, and I don't know why. And you shall take me strongly in your arms again, and I will not remember that I ever felt the pain. This is The First Days. We moved in together the day after the first day of summer. We carried box after box up our stairs and stacked them against the bare walls of our new old apartment. We made the place ours, filling empty closets with clothes, filling blank shelves with books and knickknacks, mingling yours with mine. I remember the slow process of unpacking, one by one, delicately as an archaeologist delivering mysteries from the earth. You lifted items from your boxes and reflected. I remember you unwrapping a replica of Degas' Little Dancer, which your father gave you before he left. Your fingers loosened her newspaper bandages, while you told how she came by her chipped chin. Box by box for a week like this, we shared the intimate histories of our things. Summer rolled on, and our new life came together as easily as if we had dreamed it. I remember the incredible ease of Sunday mornings we didn't work. I remember the crisp symmetry of waffles forked from my mother's old iron griddle, battered yet dutiful after decades of breakfast. I remember the texture of Talavera mugs, dimpled and full of fresh, dark coffee. I remember fireworks blooming over the harbor in sparkling cyan, lemon white, kiss red. Their explosions lit the sky around us, flashing over the streets and alleys and illuminating the beach below the cliffs. From our balcony, we watched with mouths agape, gasping like kids with each bright burst. I remember coming home from work early one evening on a Saturday in late July. I tiptoed up the stairs to sneak up on you. Instead, I found you sprawled in the middle of the living room, asleep in the warm, drowsing light. Curled beside you, your cat picked her head up and yawned, slunk over to me, and the two of us left you napping. Later, you woke to the pop of a cork in a purpling sky. You called my name like a question mark and wandered toward the sound. You found me with the cat in my lap on the balcony, reading a book of stories, waiting with 2 cups of red wine and a head full of fine ideas about what to do with our delicious night. I remember the smothering heat of August and the utter incompetence of our ceiling fan. I remember throwing open every window in our apartment, heaping curses on the heads of our landlords, on the crazy hearts of lunatic neighbors, on the mosquitoes that buzzed in our ears and fattened themselves on our blood. Those sleepless nights we sweated in bed next to each other beneath a single sheet, talking softly in the dark about 1,000 things, about how certain we were of our special luck, of being different from everyone and everything we knew. I remember the breeze that rescued us each night for a week in September. It blew in from Catalina over the breakwater and swept up the few short blocks from the harbor. It whispered through plants we'd potted on the balcony and wound its way into our living room. I remember the enormous eucalyptus outside our kitchen window swaying in the twilight. I remember the surprise of its million pink blossoms, which arrived one morning and stuck around for a month, maybe more. I remember the first real meal we cooked on our new old stove. The two of us danced clumsily around each other with wooden spoon and steaming colander. I remember the scent of basil pungent on our fingertips and burning bread before breaking it. And I remember dessert, a tart mango sorbet thawing on the counter as our bodies pressed into one another against the fridge. I remember the thrub of our fingers as they pushed through tiny magnets, parting clusters of silly poems left by friends and spilling them onto the floor. I remember us afterwards, collapsed in our little kitchen, backs against the cool surface of lacquered cabinetry, the flesh of our bottoms on the linoleum, grinning under heavy eyelids as we picked up fallen words. Matter, simple, with, vision, almost, are, under, orange, euphony. Even now, I remember the sound of your voice when you asked me what that word meant, euphony. You said you hadn't heard it before. I said, I was sure you had. Again, you asked what it meant, but I asked you to repeat your question, begged you just to keep speaking. I wanted to make you understand the word the way I understood it. You asked a third time, then a fourth. Then your voice lost its lilt. So I told you what I knew. It was something like harmony, which reminded you of that tiny town up the coast we stopped into once. And with a laugh as bright as a ring of keys tossed into the air, you drifted back to the fat white Maine Coon asleep behind the creamery window, back to the charm of an old red pickup rusting in tall grass. When you spoke, the lilt returned and lifted your voice like a dream. I hear it now, still ringing in my ears. Mark's up here for a reason, as I said at the beginning. If you weren't here, and I'm going to repeat it, this book would not exist without Mark. And many of these poems, whether he likes it or not, he helped fashion, either directly or indirectly, often indirectly because that's the way Mark works. Pass him something and say, what do you think about this? And he'll say, he'll give me some sort of remark that I have to figure out. It's not like this needs to be worked out or that thing, this change, this word or something, but it's always something that I have to sort of wrestle with and figure out. And oftentimes, most of the time, when I've wrestled with them, the things turn out better. And there's something about, I don't know, just having that partnership, kind of a partnership, having somebody read your stuff that is reading it honestly, has a sense of craft themselves, and your best interest in hand, the best interest in the piece that you're trying to express something through. And so, really, really appreciate having him and the rest of his band come up here and support. It's quite moving. So I think there might be a tear in my beer.
Is that testament to your friendship?
Yeah. I mean, yeah.
You would drive all the way down,
Yeah.
It's awesome.
Yeah. It's. I think at this point, it's a friendship, but I lost a brother about 6 months ago, and I don't have a brother. I have no siblings now. And we had a memorial last night in Long Beach. That's one of the reasons why I'm down. And it's one of the reasons why we have a lot of extra beer. We didn't go through it. So, but I've long felt this, but I think the truth now is very clear that my best friends are my brothers, and some of them are sisters, but most of them are brothers. And got a brother, got many brothers, and Mark is one of them. So this is called Elsewhere. Pardon me, no, I'm gonna start with a different poem. This is called Apartment Cleaning. So at this point in the story, we're past the sort of pretty things and at the end of something. This is the beginning of the end. Apartment cleaning. I wake up before the alarm, take a deep breath, and draw back the blinds. In the kitchen, I make coffee in the half light. In the shower, I give thanks for simple things: hot running water, the alchemy of percolation, oatmeal and raisins, decent teeth, sound and vision. Then I make a sign to post outside: moving sale. Futon, bed, couch and ottoman, chairs and kitchen stuff, plates, mugs, glasses, utensils, pots and pans, bed and nightstand, desk and lamp, books and shelves, music and stereo, television, DVD player, dining table, coffee table. Everything must go. Then I open my door and stand back and wait for things to disappear. Around noon, a young couple wanders in to look through records and books. As we chat, I fall quietly in love with them. But we're brief friends, heading in different directions. They carry Bill Withers and Raymond Carver in their arms out the door, smiling and waving. When it's over, stuff that doesn't sell goes into a box or bag and into the alley or down to the thrift store on 4th, where it can become someone else's belongings, another's boon or burden. And then comes time to clean. Through it all, I think of you, but 5 times. picking up a bottle cap kicked to a corner during the farewell party you weren't at, sweeping into a pile of dust, strands of long brown hair beneath the bed I broke down, finding that striped sock you lost and tossing it into the trash, hauling out the second-hand couch we carried down ocean up Atlantic to complete our place, washing the tall windows in front through which passed such pretty light. Then I think of you no more. I just sweep and mop the bare hardwood floors. After I pull the last nail from the walls, I spackle all the holes. This is coming from a poem Elsewhere. I'm going to break this into. This is called Elsewhere. Somewhere there is a park lit up like gold at sunset overlooking a city left behind. Somewhere behind clouds is a sun you can stare straight into. Somewhere a kettle sputters on a stove on a Saturday that lasts forever, where evening is poised above afternoon like a story in a book on a bed face down. Somewhere postcard bookmarks have all been sent, or lost, or laid to rest in an old shoebox. Somewhere friends at the end of the bar invite a stranger to share their pitcher of beer, and a pier runs out over waves where fishermen fiddle with tackle as talk turns to travel. Somewhere a train heads downtown while a boat sails past the breakwater, and people meander through farmers' markets as swimmers cross the bay. Somewhere the musk of earth is released by rain, and lithe legs open their warm welcome. Somewhere a song is mistaken for an old friend, while windows are raised and doors propped open for company and cold drinks that glimmer on a balcony strung with lights, where a table is spread full as the summer night. Somewhere a backyard bursts with dahlias. So one of the things about this book, I try to pour everything into it, about 10 years worth of experience, and at 170 pages, you can do the division. That's about 17 pages per year. Obviously, it's an impossible feat. I tried to put music, I tried to put friends, I tried to put specific people into it, but I never name anybody. Nobody's named. I felt to do that would have been too much, and I resisted. And another thing I tried to do was make it bigger than the book itself, because in these days, people seem to be reading less, and they don't read as long, and they don't pick up big things because big things are scary. And so I wanted to make something small, and I wanted to make it beautiful, and I wanted to make it full and interactive. And so I found one way to do that was to put a couple of the poems that a friend told me didn't quite fit in the book, and yet I knew they had to be part of the book. Most of the things in this book are set in and dealing with the time that I spent in Long Beach, but part of the time I spent in Long Beach was traveling, and I traveled a lot in Latin America, where I went with the deliberate kind of purpose of learning Spanish and practicing my Spanish. And at this point now, I'm happy to say I'm fluent in Spanish. So after leaving Long Beach, after a kind of difficult breakup and trying to basically pick up the pieces and put them back together and move forward, I was sitting in a plaza in a small town in Michoacan, and I wrote a poem. and this poem is on the back of a postcard. There's a few back there if you want one. You can have one, but they also come with the book. There's 2 postcards that come with the book, and this is one for which there's also a video online. If you'd like to do it, you can go on and you can watch the video. It's about 5 minutes, and it's all images taken from this town in which this poem is set. This is called Traveling Light. A bench under blue sky, the turn of leaves adrift down onto the grass here, across the stones there. An old fountain, big enough to swim in. A church with open doors, wooden pews and shadows. A bronze statue of a man who did something with his life. A slight breeze, children at play, laughter and footsteps, a flutter of pigeons taking to the air, a sleeping dog. If I tilt my head back, I can feel your voice and smile, your touch, bright and warm as the sunshine in this plaza. I'm going to finish out with another portion of Elsewhere. Somewhere a single screen theater dims as curtains rise and the movie begins. Somewhere a couple finds each other dancing in a living room above a street where hearts don't outgrow each other or falter on fickle fuel. And the trick of the new doesn't wear off with every cool breeze that blows down the block. Somewhere the idea of death loses its pall as another numinous word is learned that will transform the world by saving a soul. Somewhere there will be an awakening in darkness where no evil indecision crawls, and morning will land light on eyes that open for one last look around before the musician picks up his guitar and quibbling questions can be safely forgotten and worries swapped for a nap in the grass as time and place unravel and what once was together comes apart to take form anew further along. Because somewhere there is a garden blooming in a valley after a season of health, in a town under a sky whose blue is just a color, calm and quiet as ever. And somehow we will have made it there, only to find ourselves missing somewhere else. Thank you.
Anybody who doesn't believe it's fine to do that while we're playing music, we're gonna start cleaning up too.
Thank you to everybody that came out. Thank you for staying. Really appreciate it. Have a good evening.